So apologies if you've heard me say this before, and apologies for the slight technical glitch. We're in a beautiful studio provided by Unsensible. You can see, wonderful upgrade. And I'm here with Tony Chan, CFO of Asia Pioneering Entertainment, a publicly listed company, no less, on GEM. And we're going to be talking about the metaverse, about resorts, about the tourist industry, entertainment, gaming, and how he's going to engage people via Web3. So let's get started. What we'll do is we'll have a quick chat now, and then at the end you can do Q&A with you guys. Put your questions into the chat room, and we will cherry pick and ask you to turn on your mic and your camera and ask the question. In the meantime, whilst we chat, please mute yourselves. So let's get started. Tony, you're from Scotland.
I was born in Hong Kong, but I grew up in Scotland.
But you got a great accent. So I know you from 20 years ago in the first kind of dot-com boom days. You're a technical guy, and tell me, you started Ape. You are the original Ape, right? Your company does what at the moment?
I joined Ape at the boom time of the casino industry in Macau, which was 2014. Okay. Casinos were built every couple of months. The whole of Taipa was turned into
That's when they reclaimed the land, right?
That's right.
Okay.
And we were very lucky to benefit off the back because they had to buy equipment, namely slot machines. A lot of the casino equipment we provided onto the floors, and we sold enough equipment to list the company in 2017.
Excellent. And then, obviously, the last few years haven't been too good for Macau, or even for Hong Kong from a travel perspective. And you've pivoted, or you're transitioning that entertainment space into the metaverse, into kind of gaming online. Maybe you could explain a little bit how that's happening. I know you made an announcement today, but what exactly are you planning to do in that space?
Okay, so the COVID hasn't been kind to Macau. Travelers have stopped, but all the resorts now have high overheads. They have difficulty letting people go.
So the border's closed, like it is in Hong Kong, between China and Macau?
It's actually open, but there's a lot of requirements and restrictions coming back and forth.
Okay.
The days of getting a quick visa at the border are gone.
So in the old days, it would have how many people a day coming in from China? 20 million? 10 million? 3 million? 1 million?
Close to 1 million a day.
1 million a day?
Yeah.
And now it's down
at one point, it was the highest border. It was the busiest border in the world.
Okay.
Yeah. Now it's obviously dropped to a trickle because of, especially in the last few days. But the point is, we have to plan for the borders to open back up.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be a frenzy of people trying to get to Macau. A lot has changed during COVID. It's not just the COVID, but also the regulations and how to do marketing for resorts.
The junkets are...
The junkets are gone. Yeah. They're very sensitive about selling gambling, either online. You cannot promote gambling. But
isn't Macau more like Las Vegas, more like a family?
It's transitioning that way. Pre-COVID, it was 80% VIP. Actually, the revenue generated by the resorts, 80% of it came from the casino floor.
Okay.
That's way higher than Las Vegas, where Las Vegas was, I believe, 30-40% of it was generated from the casino floor.
So not all those shopping malls, because Macau is just like casino, hotel, shopping malls.
So
right?
That's the dilemma: is how do you fill the shopping malls? How do you get your marketing message out from Macau to the world and also to China?
So how are you going to do that? I mean, you've come at it from a technical hardware,
yes,
one-armed bandits world.
We think we found an innovative solution. If people can't go to Macau, we will build a digital twin of Macau on the metaverse, and people can travel there. So you can still visit Macau from your desktop anywhere in the world. You can go to the online version, digital twin, and our vision is to actually replicate the beauty and the ambience and the architecture of Macau resorts, and also the culture and all the destination sites. So you can feel Macau before you actually visit it.
So you're going to replicate the Macau that's there in the digital world, right?
We started with a project called Mini Macau.
Yeah.
We've built it on Sandbox,
Okay.
and we've built the ferry terminal. We've built Macau Tower. We've built the ruins of St. Paul's. We've built an Amma temple, and we've built some shops.
So tell us how you put that together, right? Because building a virtual world, are you using your own technology? Are you using other people's technology? Have you gone to China and found developers there and designers, or is it all done in Macau?
So we actually just started this project in December and
Okay.
got into it in
So you're
January.
moving fast, okay.
Yeah. We piggybacked off of a great platform called Sandbox.
Okay. Hong Kong born?
Absolutely. Well, actually,
Well, actually, no, France born. Is it
French born, but actually the holding company, we all know
Animoca.
Animoca
Yes.
and Yatsio. We go back to the Web 1.0 days. They've provided great support, and they're the latest metaverse out there with all the bells and whistles. Okay, it's still in alpha actually. It's not officially launched, so we're one of the very early adapters.
So why did you choose, there's a myriad of metaverses out there, right? There's no one metaverse yet. Why did you choose Sandbox when you could have done, Decentraland, you could even have kind of collaborated, I guess, with Meta, right? With formerly Facebook.
When we envisioned this, Meta didn't change its name, it was still Facebook.
Okay.
We didn't do Decentraland because the graphics were a bit slower.
Yeah.
It wasn't as good. It was harder to build on, and the fact that it was more decentralized is also an issue with us because there's actually online casinos running on Decentraland. It's a bit of a cowboy town.
Oh, I see.
Whereas
so you didn't want to do the casino.
We're definitely not going the casino route. Our project is called ResortVerse.
Okay.
We are marketing the resorts, but we don't want to market the gambling side of it.
So although you sell slot machines, you're not going to replicate that in the virtual world.
This is the pivot. We think it's the bigger opportunity is actually outside of the casino.
Okay, interesting. So then you chose Sandbox because it was easier to adapt to. They come with their own kind of out-of-the-box software, right? And you use that.
Yeah.
But Sandbox is not publicly open, right? It's not. They're still in.
Yeah, they're still in
pre-alpha
alpha.
or
They're
whatever,
still in
right?
alpha. There's a lot of features are not there. We've learned a lot in the last 3 months developing on that. Whether we can continue, whether it fulfills the vision of what we're trying to do. Certainly our customers, which are the large resorts, will need things like in metaverse marketing, promotions. They need to have APIs to call into their own backend. They need to do promo videos. They need kind of access rights, kind of walled gardens for certain customers. We hope, and I think there's some Animoca people in the stream. I hope we can have a chat with them to see if these APIs can be opened, because that's what we need.
Well, this is a current discussion, right? Is about the open APIs and interoperability and all these things. And there's a lot of talk about it, but the reality is we will see.
Yeah, one of our requirements, one of our key features is the travel token. We want to build our own incentive mechanism for people to do play to earn.
Okay, let's get to that in a moment.
When you join a metaverse, you're very much tied to their own local currency. Sandbox has the Sand token.
Yeah.
We're struggling to make the play to earn element work for us to do that.
So you're saying one of your learnings from working with a Sandbox type environment is having their own token brings certain restrictions with it, right?
Correct, yes.
So in your mind, you're thinking, well, at some stage, it might be better to have your own platform. Now, it's quite hard to build a big metaverse, right? So is it more a case of you taking the hotels and the resorts of Macau into lots of different worlds? Or is it about building a world that is purely a Macau world that other people come to?
The project is bigger than Macau. ResortVerse could be any resort, large resort in the world, not just Asia, but any continent in the world. The vision is very big.
So your concept is that, so taking it away from Macau, your concept is that you replicate resorts, all the entertainment elements, all of that kind of into a virtual world, right?
Correct. This kind of takes you to the challenge of resorts and how people do the booking in resorts. Right now, 30%, 70% go through these called OTAs, online travel agencies.
Yeah.
And then the 30%.
Trip.coms, the bookings.coms, those kind of guys, right?
Yeah, but the larger they get, the more margin they take.
Yeah, they take 30%, 40% from hotels.
That's right. So resorts obviously want people to book direct.
Yeah.
And they're willing to offer more if you book direct. But how do you make that offering more attractive when you book direct? Because at the end, we're still stuck in Web 2.0, flat images, outdated websites.
But for the hotel industry, I understand, because on the internet, there are, like in the real estate business, you've seen a lot, particularly in Hong Kong, right? They've all gone from flat images to these 360 kind of cameras and walkthroughs, right? You can, little spots on the ground, you can look at the windows, you can look at the bathroom, you can look at, so they're doing the 360s. How is that going to be that's a big leap to do from that into actually virtually walking around these worlds?
I think that's where the big opportunity lies.
Yeah.
Because the websites are still outdated. They're still Web 2.0.
Yeah.
No one has done this. The technology has only just been available the last couple of years. Sandbox just came online last year. So we're an early adopter, and we hope to make this happen. Our company is called Asia Pioneer. We're going to pioneer this.
So the thing is, I've worked a lot with people in the travel industry, and they're very brand conscious, right? The reason part of their websites are so static is they're so conservative about the imagery, the photographs that you see of these worlds that you're going into, right? How are you going to face that challenge in a kind of virtual world? Because obviously, it's either going to be very pixelated, so it's not up to that level of quality or detail that they might want, but you're going to open it up to a different generation of people, right? So how are you going to strike that balance?
Well, it works okay when you have 90% or 100% capacity in your hotel rooms.
Yeah.
Right now they're sitting at 20 below.
Yeah.
They need to get people to go to their hotels. And it's a very competitive environment. Right now there's much more resorts supply than there are demand.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't travel. A lot of people can't afford to travel. So the resorts have got to compete for these.
Yeah. And frankly, it's still quite difficult to travel. Even though you open up, it's still quite difficult. So so let's stay with Macau. Have you pitched and got some of these big groups on board? Have you got the Sands, Melco, Crowne Plaza? Have you got all these big hotel groups?
Yeah, we have a big team in Macau.
Okay.
Our company is based there. We have some very capable people. I think all of the casino licenses we do business with. So basically, every large resort is our customer on the casino floor. We now need to go and move towards the hotel marketing side and the hotel side. The message, yes, I think the message has been very positively received. Everybody wants to listen to us and understand. You have to understand these people, they have their own issues right now.
Yeah.
And so
nobody in the hotel rooms.
That's right.
Take away food.
So I think it's a refreshing marketing message. I mean, they're still stuck putting out CMS emails, blasting emails all over the place. That doesn't work these days.
Doesn't work. So maybe we should show, because you said already you've built a bit of it, right?
Yeah.
You've got the temples and a few things going on.
Yeah.
Is this bit that you use to show the hotels, or is this you just kind of exploring and testing the market? Or?
So we got into this 3 months ago, and we built a prototype to see if our vision actually worked. And it's given us a lot of confidence that the roadmap that we have will work. We've built, if we can show the video.
In a moment, yeah.
We've built the landmarks of Macau, which is a Macau Tower, the ferry terminals, St. Paul's, and then the temple. And we've shown that you can build play-to-earn games around these sites. So this acts as
So you've got the games element in it, as in games, not gaming, right? Games.
Correct.
Fun games, entertainment.
Correct. Entertainment games,
not gambling games.
Yes.
So, and this is all built with, because in the Web3 world, what I'm also fascinated by is how these teams come together, right? physically, thanks also to COVID, you're not all in the same place, right? So are your team that has put this together, are they all based in Macau, or are you bringing in people from all over the world?
People from all over the world. We've got consultants working in the US.
Yeah.
Our websites are done out of India.
Yeah.
And I have.
And the graphics and the kind of rendering that goes on in these worlds, who's that done by?
That's actually done by Sandbox, because the beauty of adapting a Sandbox pre-built metaverse platform is they do all the back end. You don't have to worry about the hardware.
Ah, okay. So it's like an Amazon Web Services. They host it all for you. You just use their interface.
That's right.
Very
You have
cool.
to buy the land though.
So well, let's have a look at it.
Yeah.
We can maybe play the video. Is he going to be able to see it? There you go. Maybe you can give us a quick voiceover
Okay,
of
so
what's
this is
going
on one parcel of land. We've built it as a community hub. People will portal into this, and we're greeted by our tiger. Our tiger is our kind of mascot. This is the virtual gallery, so we hope to put more Macau or Portuguese artwork in here. It's 2 floors. One day we'll be able to sell artwork, NFT artwork directly from this. And then we've built an interesting concept here. This is St. Paul's. This is the iconic shot of Macau. We've built it into a game. This is me. Right, I'm the gatekeeper. This is a brand of Macau called Zhehuangyun cookies. So this is interesting.
These are the almond cookies, right?
The almond cookies. We're bringing Macau brands into the metaverse, and we've did a cookie collecting. Here are vending machines. We have a large network of vending machines in Macau.
So here you're collecting cookies as in toy cookies. You're not edible cookies.
Correct. Toy cookies. And the game is that if you collect all the cookies, you go back to the vending machine, we give you a code, and you actually win a physical
Box of cookies.
So
Omni-channel.
That's right. It's online to offline.
Very nice.
Play to earn.
So where are we now? We're in the temple.
We're in
Lots
the
of
temple.
monks around.
Yes, we've built some gods.
You've built some gods. I like that.
Virtual gods. We all have to pray because we can't get to the temples. the current COVID has closed them. We've got a lion dance, which we built during Chinese New Year. Brings us luck. The Chinese would really like this.
Yes.
And then you can, you burn some incense paper.
Can you buy and burn it?
This is Choi San, the god of fortune.
Okay.
Right? You want to pray to that before you go into a casino. And then we've built this is an egg tart game we built in the sky, so you have to navigate your way on the egg tarts to collect the cookies.
It's quite Minecraft-like, isn't it, in many ways?
Yes, it's Minecraft with better graphics.
Yeah.
Better graphics. We've replicated some Macau ferries. These are iconic. You have to go across the ferry side.
I've always wanted to stand on top of a ferry like that. Maybe quite interesting.
No, you can, virtually. We've built a nightclub.
Oh, there you go. And these are real people in that nightclub, or these
these are actually avatars of our team.
Oh, okay.
So, and we've built a few more characters to populate the nightclub. You will see. It makes it more interesting.
So there's quite a lot of content there already, right?
Yeah, it is. Then there's the bridge game where you have to avoid the tourists. So if you go back to the days when Macau was full of tourists, you literally get run over by tourists pushing cars around or taking selfies. And then you go up to Macau Tower. You can enjoy the beautiful 360 ambience of Macau Tower. And we're going to, if you get this far, we'll reward you with the grand prize.
Which
so
is?
This is, we're still looking into it.
Okay.
We'll see if we can actually sell
that's a little bit more, that you've done that in 3 months.
We did that in 3 months, yes.
Well done to your team.
How many people?
They work How many people?
We're about 4 in-house and about 4 or 5 external.
Pretty good. So that world there is on Sandbox, but it's not publicly available, right?
Yeah, this is the bottleneck. You see, Sandbox has so many games waiting to be published, and they have an approval process.
You told me there's like 500 games or something in the pipeline.
I think slightly more. So Sandbox and Emoca, if you're out there, I'm going to come and see you.
Accelerate,
Please,
yeah,
please help
accelerate.
us get Macau into the metaverse.
So that's interesting. So you have that world, and then you create almost like a. Is it to scale in terms of where the buildings and things are?
No,
or?
no. Part of it is fantasy.
Okay.
Part of it is to, but it gives you the illusion or the feel of what Macau, the features of Macau. It gives
Okay.
you-
And then to bring what's happening in Hong Kong, I've seen with Sandbox particularly, people are buying land. There's transactions happening. Do you see the same thing happening in Macau? Is it? Do you see people? Is this going to be a world that's not owned by anybody? Is it owned by a DAO? Is it owned by the people who own the real property in the real life? Well, I mean, there's a lot of issues that will come up there, surely.
Well, so there's two parts to that question. I think the speculation on sand land
Yeah.
is a frenzy,
Yeah.
especially with.
I think that's why it's called sand.
Is that right?
You sink in it, maybe.
Yes, yes. The speculation makes it problematic because real developers like us are getting squeezed out by the speculators.
Yeah.
And then the second problem is because of lack of land. You have to be creative in how to build it on a smaller parcel.
I get it. Yeah.
We are real developers. We want to continue to develop on Sandbox, but the cost of land is too high.
Oh, I see. So it's the developers against the developers. It's the software developers against
the speculators.
The brick developers.
And the speculators. Right? The speculators sit on the land and do nothing.
That's quite
it's
a
kind of
challenge.
like Hong Kong.
Unfortunately, what that will create is ghost towns. I mean, I don't know if you've
Correct.
seen, we had in Hong Kong, New World acquired a whole piece of land. And if you wander around it, you lose interest in about 3 seconds. There's lots of logos flying around, lacking content. So I can see...
When the VCs start bidding for the land, you know it's a speculation.
Yeah, and this is why the gaming community, in a way, the video gaming community is staying away, is that you can see they know how to create games, right? They know how to create excitement and get people involved. So I'm wondering, there's always a bit of friction there, right? Because these worlds, once you've walked into them and they're a bit hollow, you don't go back, right? Whereas if it's full of games and it entices you and you want to do stuff, you go back.
Yeah, it squeezes out the innovation. It squeezes out the small creators, the real innovators, 2 or 3 guy studios that can build something very cool. Now, it's so large, and Sandbox is a business, as you know. They've got investors. They are going to focus on the big brands like Gucci, HSBC, SCMP. All these large players will go there. It becomes like a big advert.
But like you've shown, I mean, you've got they're kind of coming at it backwards, right? You're showing that there's games in there, right? There's cookie games or whatever. It's things that people do, right? Whereas burning, paper for the gods or whatever. These are things that people are used to doing, and it's fun and it's easy to understand. How do you, I guess, with something with your kind of leverage, you are able to maybe grow that a bit bigger, right? And entice people into it, right? Because like building a resort, that you go to a resort because you either want to take your family there and you want to use the pools, or you want to eat, or you want to shop, or gamble in some cases. But how are you going to get around that? How are you going to attract people?
Right. So the metaverse is there as the platform, but how do you bring people into the metaverse? This NFT boom that happened last year. I think they sold something like $20 billion US of NFTs last year, and they're going to grow 3 or 4 times this year.
Okay.
So NFTs, in my view, it's a great marketing tool. People used to send emails. Now you send an NFT, it drops into your wallet. You have a ownership identity with it, and from that, it pulls you into the metaverse space. It can become your avatar to the metaverse, to that piece of land. So our idea is that we're doing an NFT drop in May, and that becomes your ticket into the metaverse, but it also becomes your ticket to the utility offline, not on the metaverse, but offline.
So you're combining, it's like a ticket, an entrance ticket or a membership.
Yes, that's right.
In a way, so I can see this kind of ResortVerse concept, because I mean, in the travel industry, you've always had airline miles, you've had hotels launching loyalty programs. I used to walk around when I traveled a lot with, 15 plastic cards, right, for all the different Bonvoy, all these different groups. So you're saying you can see all of that transitioning and delivered in the form of an NFT that sits in your wallet.
Yes,
So
yes, and the resorts have not adopted to this. They're not even close to that.
you haven't seen resorts use NFTs and loyalty
not
programs
at all.
at all?
Ironically, loyalty programs was invented by resorts way before the airlines.
Yeah.
They invented play to earn on the casino floor,
Okay.
right? This is
So explain that. How does
so when a player goes to plays on table, he gambles. The play to earn is called comps, complimentaries. The guys have a drink on us. Oh, you played a bit more. We'll give you a dinner, right? We can even bring the dinner to the table.
So it's just the amount of time you invest, you get.
So then you get these comp junkies that just go there for the freebies, right? You get the drinks, the meal, and then you get your hotel stay.
I see.
Right?
Yeah, that's what Las Vegas was based on, right?
This is called play to earn. They invented this concept. We're just taking this play to earn concept online, where you can actually play on the metaverse.
Yeah.
But your comps, you still get the comps regularly at the casino, in the resort.
True, but the play to earn concept I understand is that I can play, like, say, Axie Infinity, any of these games, right? I earn stuff that I can then trade. So there's a liquidity element, like the comps and what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I can't trade those, right? Well, I guess I could say,
well,
have my drink or
during the heydays of Macau, you couldn't book a room. You could only get the room when you get these comp junkies, degenerate gamblers that have the hotel rooms. They want to trade it for cash.
Oh, really?
So yes, there was.
So there was a secondary market in.
It was a grey market.
Comps.
It was a grey
market in comps.
Yes.
Interesting. So explain to us then how that NFT concept is interesting. That would be under the ResortVerse, and then you would build your own.
So I think that NFTs can really work for resorts because they need the branding. There's a lot of issues for a resort to put out their own NFT because underlying currency behind it is crypto. And crypto and casino licenses don't mix, right? It's very unlikely they will touch it. However, we at APE, we're not licensed as a casino. We're a publicly traded company that is using NFTs for a legitimate marketing purpose. So we can co-brand, we can work with these resorts to launch NFTs.
But don't those NFTs have an underlying value? Because if they're linked to a crypto, they always have the point of the NFT, well, part of the NFT market is very speculative.
Yes.
And it's about, what's the value, what's the floor price, is it going up, am I on OpenSea, am I selling, it's an asset.
Yes.
Right?
We're focusing more on the utility side of the NFT. We think one is the branding for, you can imagine beautiful resort pictures, backgrounds on NFTs.
Yeah.
And two is the online and offline utility. The online one could be access to their resort, digital resort on the metaverse. The offline utility could be travel tokens, comps to their resort facilities if you travel there.
It's interesting, because whilst you're saying that, you make me think about the whole ICO craze and in the crypto world, what happened about 2 years ago, I don't know if you remember, there was like there was a splitism between this is a utility token, this is people were trying to come up with irrational explanations of what their token stood for, right? This is a US dollar connected token, this is a utility token, so we're not stock, you're not buying and selling securities. We have underlying things that we do.
Yeah, we have to go that route. For sure we can't be a security
So you're telling me you
token.
think the NFT world is going to go that route as well?
Already it's being used by the big brands.
Yeah.
Adidas.
Because one of the other things you do is you run, 3 NFT groups here in Hong Kong, right?
Yes.
So that's 750 people. So what are you seeing popping up in the conversations in those NFT communities? Is it all about speculation, or are people aligning themselves?
No, I think finally we found a use for this crypto that we've been playing with for several years.
We found a use. Apart from speculation, you're saying
apart from the speculation,
So there is a movement. There is a movement towards supporting artists and people. There's collectibles, which is obviously a very clear movement.
Yes.
You're saying there's another movement which is more about the access, loyalty, that kind of membership side, right?
And also the artistic side, because we now have very established artists
Yeah.
Beeple was actually a physical artist before he
Yeah.
transitioned to digital.
Yeah.
And the artist that is working with our NFT drop in May is an established artist out of Europe.
And you can say the name of your NFT drop? It has a name?
Asia Tigers NFT.
Asia Tigers.
Asia Tigers, because
That's not the tiger that appeared in the Sandbox just now. Not that Mini Macau tiger.
that is our mascot. And if you sign on to the whitelist and join our social media channels, we will be doing a slow unveiling of the artwork.
So what are you making it? Is it kind of, because you're in NFT world, have you studied all these other ones and gone, I'm not doing PFP, I'm not doing two-dimensional, I'm going deeper? How are you going to differentiate yourself?
We do tigers because this is the year of the tiger, Chinese tiger.
Okay.
And we're doing tiger theme. We're doing travel theme because we're in the travel industry. And tigers are synonymous only with Asia. So it's a very good metaphor, Asia tigers. We're also very aligned with the hospitality industry because all of these hotel workers are struggling in the last 2 years, the employees. So we hope to work with that community to give them some bonding.
That's interesting. There is what I see with some of these NFT projects. They're looking for things to do good, right? So you just talked about the employers side of things. Do you see NFTs as a way to encourage and reward an employee in a hotel, right? They're not going to get their options on shares, right? So is this another vehicle for somebody to feel that they're part of a business?
I think if you do one day we will be doing a lot of NFT drops on behalf of resorts or in conjunction with resorts. Yeah. There's no stop. They're purchased for public. Anyone can buy them, including the staff, the management. You want to encourage it. I think what's really missing in the hotel industry is the people. The biggest asset of the resorts is actually the people. And if you can bring the workers to the actual users, the consumers, i.e. the tourists, that is a very interesting consumer mix when you build this community of tourists plus hospitality workers.
So you think they will mix together and they'll have something in common through these NFTs?
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting community because these hospitality workers want to get to know the customers better.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of them are in the back office. They don't get that chance. But if you build a community where they hold a common PFP,
yeah,
right, and you put them into Discord, they will start chatting. Hey, did you know about this resort has this feature that is not really well
I see.
sold?
So you see them as becoming, because
ambassadors
they're a stakeholder, they become an ambassador.
Yeah.
The only Achilles heel I see in that is that the travel industry is like they're moving from hotel to hotel. The loyalty in that industry is pretty low, right? Because the way that you get treated, I think, frankly, but basically people move around the whole time, right? From entity to entity.
Sure.
So I guess if you're the vehicle, the passport between them, makes sense. But if you're, a group, hotel group, or another MGM versus Sands or versus, right, Crown or whatever.
It gives some power back to the employees. For example, certain concierges are so well known. People follow the concierges if they move from hotel to hotel.
I really like the idea. To me, it's kind of like, it's almost like an evolution of Uber, right? Where when you get in an Uber car, you give them a 4-star or they star you back. So what you do is if you get good service from the concierge, or you can maybe flip them an NFT or some kind of, right? It's a form of...
It's a new tip.
Yeah. Why not, right?
That's a great idea.
You've got that liquidity that gets... there's a lot of work for you to do before we get there.
Yeah, and we came up with really innovative business models. We have play to earn that goes online to offline.
Okay, explain that. How does that work?
If you
mean the biscuits? Going back to the biscuits.
That's right.
Back to the cookies.
If you wander around the resort or the metaverse and you collect the biscuits, you get an offline, a real physical version.
Yeah, that bit I really like. Because I think what's happening, the problem in tourism now, especially in our part of the world, is that it's the retailers who are also getting royally rogered.
Yeah.
Because the typical big hotel groups are in cahoots with the real estate players and, frankly, have plenty of cash. It's all the restaurateurs, the people who make the cookies, the toys, the postcards, all that kind of stuff.
So imagine it could work the other way around, where you can visit the premises physically. If you do certain things within the premises, you earn an NFT.
Yeah.
You purchase something, you visit certain shops, you go to an event, you get an NFT. That's another comp, digital comp.
I like the idea, but I still think there's a lot of education there, right? I mean, I remember when QR codes, like people hated QR codes. They're like, what the hell is that? Why? And now, because of COVID and all this scanning that we do, basically everybody and their grandmother understands what a QR code is. It's a vehicle to some information or access to something.
Yeah.
What you're saying is if you layer on top of that with an NFT, it's basically the QR code gives you access to an NFT or something, right? I mean,
That's right.
The problem with all, you and I have been in this a long time, the problem with all this technology, it has a lot of promise, but the adoption of it usually takes something like a war or a pandemic or some pretty serious thing to drive it, right?
Right. So inside the marketing of these large resorts, the very powerful guy now is the digital marketing strategist.
About time too.
Yes. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
They're the ones to instigate change. And they have no choice, frankly, if your occupancy rate is down to 10, 15% and your malls are empty.
Yeah.
Right? You have to try something.
But how are you, I mean, frankly, how are you going to guarantee that people are going to turn up at these places, right? You might get them engaged in the virtual thing and they might collect a few boxes of biscuits, but how are you going to increase the warm bodies in beds or the packs in their restaurants or all the things that they want?
In Las Vegas, what they did was if you comp them enough, they will come. If you throw enough comps or enough prizes, benefits, they will come.
So it's a question of dangling incentives.
Yes. The resorts don't market this, but the people that go to Macau know this. If you go there and you do certain things, you can get a free ferry ticket back.
Okay.
And sometimes they have promotions in the malls to give out free lunches.
So where would you go? You say this is more of a global thing. So after Macau, and Macau is a pretty small, very specialized market, right?
Yeah.
You did say it gets huge amounts of tourists, or used to get huge amounts of tourists.
Well,
I mean, Hong Kong, we even used to get, what was it like? We were up to 70 million a year before COVID, right?
Yes.
Mainly from across the border.
Yeah.
But
Well, we're pioneering and prototyping in Macau, but the concept can work globally. We're particularly interested to do Asia because
after Macau would be where? Would be
I'm interested in doing Vietnam.
okay.
There's some large, beautiful resorts in Vietnam and Philippines. A lot of large, beautiful resorts and casinos in Philippines.
Yeah.
The
Why
problem
not
is
Genting in Malaysia? Isn't that the famous?
Oh yeah, we can do that one.
famous resort?
The Malaysians are quite hard
Or
to.
Hainan Island? How
to
about
haggle
Hainan
with. Yes.
Island?
It can work in China too.
Yeah.
Because this actually is because it's not a gambling thing
Yeah.
anymore. It's a marketing thing for travel and leisure.
Entertainment. Now you mentioned something earlier that I was also curious about was if you do this ResortVerse, are you building that on an existing blockchain or you build your own protocol or because especially if you're putting a foot in China and a foot outside of China, right?
Yeah.
The great firewall of China is also being applied to blockchain. So how are you
Okay.
playing in those two arenas?
So this is the tough one to be fully compliant
Yeah.
on both sides. You have to build a blockchain that can go both ways, right? In China, the standards are still being built.
Yeah.
You've got to find a way to be able to allow
And are
China
those standards in
citizens
China being built on their own technology or they're using,
their own technology.
Ether and all that?
Yes. They're using blockchain concepts.
Okay.
But they're using their own private type of tokens that can convert into e-renminbi.
Okay.
And then
And these are proof of stake or
Yes.
those? Okay.
Yes. So I think in Macau it was 60-70% of tourists are from mainland China.
Okay.
So you have to be compliant with China.
Okay.
And then the 30%, you have a lot of choice actually. Now there's so many chains and NFT platforms to use.
Yeah. But are the ones that bridge both? Or is that what you see yourself doing?
We're looking to build something really unique called a travel token.
Okay.
The travel token is the incentive pay to earn reward that will power a marketplace for rewards inside different resorts. So we're basically, the analogy is Asia miles.
Yeah.
Right? The more you fly, the more miles you use the miles to buy things on the marketplace. We're building a travel token where the more you play on the metaverse, or the more NFTs you buy, the more travel tokens you acquire, which can be used to swap into coupons, hotel experiences.
But doesn't that sound like a replication of an ecosystem that exists with credit cards and airlines? And I mean, as far as what you just described, sounds similar to the idea, if I connect my Amex to my Asia Miles, whenever I spend money buying coffee, chocolate, whatever, that will give me points. So I get two currencies. I get the miles of the credit card, and I get the points on the credit card. I get the points on the airline.
Yeah,
right.
But no one's
and then I can use those to go and upgrade. Originally, now Cathay has gone into marketplace and gone. We're not getting enough people using this stuff. Let's sell shoes. Let's sell handbags. Let's sell Tumi bags. Let's sell access to Disney Plus. Let's right.
Which works because the malls inside have such a variety of goods that are being undermarketed by the resort. The resort is always pushing its own amenities. The malls and the little shops inside the malls they have to fend for themselves.
Yeah. So you're saying you would come in and you're basically becoming a transaction channel for those malls and those retailers to the guests.
It could be a marketplace for the goods, not just inside the resort, but the goods inside the malls.
Okay. I've worked with malls. They're difficult people. Not the most imaginative.
We work with resorts, they're difficult too.
Yes. So I hope you've got a big team behind this. Let's take some questions from the floor. Do we have some?
Okay, so I see your first question, Charles. So you have, with more than 90% of tourism coming from mainland China and perhaps an older demographic than the average metaverse user, based on my experience, are you still targeting these patrons with ResortVerse, or do you aim at a different user persona?
The oldies. Are you going for the oldies in China?
I think you have to make the technology easy to use as an iPhone. If it's seamless and it's very, very sensible, anyone can adapt it. And I think even the oldies use iPhones now, right?
Yeah, but I see his question because also, in China, obviously, mobile payment is ahead of Hong Kong, right? We're really behind them. Well, we're catching up. But then everybody across China uses, their phones to do zhifubao or whatever, right? Yeah. To pay for things. It doesn't matter what age you are. So is it, I was also curious, why aren't the Alipays and Tencents, and I know they're dabbling in NFT, but they're being very cautious about it, and they're kind of self-regulating because they've been slapped a few times recently. So is this going to be a barrier to kind of introducing that as a vehicle in China?
I don't think so. I think the Chinese have been one of the biggest movers in metaverse.
Yeah.
Inside China.
Yeah.
There's a huge metaverse frenzy going on last year in China.
Yeah.
And
well, gaming is huge there, right? So the concept of being in a game or a virtual world.
Yeah.
And when I was selling in-game ads 15 years ago, they were ahead of the game in many ways.
For sure, yes.
So his question was more about, is this going to be something you're going to be able to get the elder kind of gamblers, I guess not gamblers only, tourists.
The first thing that a tourist does when he gets to Macau is look at his phone for a compass, for a directory of things to do.
Okay.
Right. If we can build a more immersive experience to actually simulate the malls, they can actually plan their trip before they go.
Interesting. I mean, it's funny because, say when mobile first came off, we were talking about this earlier, there was this solo mode, social mobile location, right? It was about sending people messages.
That's right.
When they walk past a mall or a hotel or a gambling den or whatever it was, right?
Yes.
They'd get a location-based message, right?
Yes.
So is the NFT kind of vehicle that kind of thing? Is it pulling in all the data you get from a mobile phone?
Well,
so you
the NFT brings them to the app, and then the app there, if it's a smart app, can help them plan their itinerary.
Okay.
So if they're in Taipei, for instance, it can give suggestions on what restaurants are doing the best promotions.
But how's that different to those cards that you get on your iPhone, your wallet? I mean, it's kind of similar, right? Samsung has their wallet. They all have wallets, which are little cards that are, location. You trigger something, right? Anyway, let's take another question.
So we have a second question. How do you think the integrated resort Sandbox? Or do you think they should wait for the Chinese metaverse?
I think they should wait for us. They should have a chat with us because we're pioneering this space. It took us 10 people and 4 months to build a prototype. The process of replicating a full resort is a lot longer, a lot of resources.
How long does it take? I mean, if I'm a resort, how long do I come to you and I say, right, tomorrow I want all of this up in the metaverse?
Well, the building is quite easy. The building is not, but to put in the game dynamics,
Yeah.
and then the promotions, and then to do all the offline promotions is a lot of work. It's way more than what a resort should be doing. They're running their operations.
So who's going to pay for this? Because as we both know, the hospitality industry is down on its knees.
The budget is definitely in marketing because their KPI is to bring tourists to the resorts.
Yeah.
So there's definitely budget in
So it's going to
marketing.
come from them.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
All right, guys, if you have any other questions, please just send them to me in the chat.
No?
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet?
Mary Mendoza has a question. She's direct message to Napoleon. Mary Mendoza says, can you walk through the process of Mini Macau? Is it about attracting a mass market or bringing them to the metaverse? On a high level, are there any fees? Are there any charges? Are you going to monetize this?
Is that an employee of yours? That sounds like a kind of
No,
difficult
actually,
question from a competitor.
She's actually Maria is a well-known lawyer in Macau.
All right. So a good question from Mary.
Yeah.
She's not there to ask it herself, is she?
Yeah.
So
Mini
she had a
Macau-
lot of questions in there.
Yes,
How are you going to
yes.
monetize it? Who's the audience? What else?
Okay, we built it as a prototype. Right?
Okay.
We've learned a lot in the last 3-4 months. Sandbox is an open platform.
Yeah.
Anyone can go in there. There's no lock-in key. There's no subscription fee.
Yeah, but it's open, but it's not open. I mean, it's a closed open platform, right?
The front end is open. The back end is closed.
All right, okay.
The model is for us to test what's capable in the metaverse. We think brands can rent a shop from us in Mini Macau. We've put in 1 brand and we've got 2 more in discussion. That's brought on interest from 1 or 2 resorts that we're in discussions with. They're interested in doing this.
Okay, so what you're saying is, if I understand correctly, in a way you're becoming a landlord, right? You're renting space in that Mini Macau
Yes.
to shops, to
Yes.
brands.
Yes.
So you become an alternative landlord.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And should a resort want to build on Sandbox, we can help them.
Okay.
We have the design studio in Macau, and then we can put the game dynamics in there, and we can help them build the offline components. We can also create the community because through the NFT drops, we're building a community of travelers that can populate that.
Yeah, but wait, go back to her question. She was saying, who's the market, right? You're saying Sandbox. She's saying, is it a niche market? Is it a wider market? Are you going to just focus on China?
On a business
she
model,
was asking-
our principal customers are the resorts.
Other resorts.
On
But
the
who
business model.
are you going to attract?
We are going to attract the community of NFT holders,
Yeah.
travelers,
But which country?
the whole world. The whole world wants
Yeah, but
to.
the whole one's massive, right? You've got to choose somewhere.
Where's
your proof of concept?
Our proof of concept is Hong Kong, Macau.
Hong
So
Kong,
our
Macau.
first drop is in May.
Oh, okay.
which
So Hong
will
Kong,
target
Macau.
Hong Kong, Macau.
Two closed markets where travelers are going to take another bloody year before we can go anywhere
Maybe
without
by,
being punished.
Maybe by the second half of the year we can go to Macau.
Yeah, hopefully. Did that answer Maria? Was it Maria? What was the name?
Mary.
Mary.
A question from Phoebe. Phoebe asks, how do you design what users can do in the metaverse, and how do you engage users to make them stick?
Good question. So our experience of Sandbox is that it's very good. It's got built-in gaming functions,
Okay.
right?
So there's like out of the box different types of games that
Yes,
you can
yes.
do.
But
the games you showed us were yours, or you were using Sandbox?
they're generic.
okay.
If you play Alpha 2 or Alpha 1, the collecting of they call them voxels,
Okay.
is a generic game. Where
Okay.
it's basically going around and collecting things. We've changed it into a cookie.
Okay.
So
So they have mini game engines.
Yes,
This is what
that's
Yatsu and Animoca is famous for.
He's
is
very good at
the
that,
art
yes.
of game engines, right?
Yes.
They basically have a marketplace of game engines.
yes.
Okay.
And then we have a kind of like a obstacle course, which
That's
again,
avoiding the
can play.
tourists.
Yes.
That was the obstacle course.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we can do the harder part is to do more quizzes and find things. There is like kind of like a shooter or a slashing game. But because
Well, that is one part of Macau that we know quite well. They're usually shooting each
yes,
other.
but it's not the kind of brand that they're looking for.
That's interesting. So basically, what you're saying is you need to have. I mean, there was a big move about 10 years ago about gamifying. You know,
Yeah.
everything had to be
Yeah.
gamified
So-
and all that. So
To move on to that,
yeah,
actually, some of our customers, our suppliers on the gaming equipment, on the slot machines, are actually really large gaming brands. I can't mention them because it's on our website. There's
like Namco, and
Konami.
Sega,
Konami, Sega.
and
Yeah.
Konami. Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
And
So-
are they already making games in those for metaverses, or are they sticking to their console?
That's the type of partnership we're looking for. If we can bring in these famous game makers, arcade game makers, and bring them, that would be a fabulous
So
mix.
Phoebe's question is very valid. Is how are you going to get people to stick, right? Because a lot of these metaverses, you know, you wander around them and it's A, ghost town, and B, you don't really want to go back often.
Right. So
right?
if you use an example, say Axel Infinity,
Yeah.
right? That's got, what was it, 20 million users. It's huge players.
Yeah.
And
They've
actually,
just been hacked, but yeah. That's going to fall dramatically.
yeah, but they grew during COVID because the play-to-earn function was being outsourced to countries that were desperate to make money.
Yeah.
So these people in Philippines were playing developed country executives' accounts to make money.
Yeah, I don't know if they were desperate, but they were just taking advantage of it, right? But that's been around for years.
Yeah.
The gaming industry's always had farming and, you know,
Yes.
people have farmed for all kinds of, you know, the last
Yeah.
20 years have been
Yeah.
farming and selling stuff on eBay.
That's right.
It's just that it's within Axie
Yeah, so
Infinity.
that's how you get the sticky element. If the incentives are there,
Yeah.
people will come.
Yeah.
And remember,
I
our
mean,
incentives are
you know,
also
to be
off.
fair, you're a CFO, you're not really a marketing guy, so I don't know if you can answer that question 100%.
Well, one day we
Phoebe,
need the marketing
we'll get
guy.
the marketing person on, yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah. What do you
Who's this
think
from?
about-
Who's this from?
This one's from Diana David. What do you think about VR for immersive metaverse environments?
Yeah, absolutely, will work. Once they get the hardware right, it will work inside of these malls. These malls are so huge. No one's been to every corner. So if we can play a game dynamic, we just talked about collecting cookies. What if we could play that inside the mall?
But VR, I guess, hi Diana. Diana is a well-known person. VR is talking more about that kind of, because there's always that challenge, right? You know, there's too much jargon for one.
Yeah.
So you got these universes that you can, I mean, a lot of these metaverses you can access through your browser, right? You don't
Yeah.
need to stuff goggles on to see
Yeah.
them. I mean, obviously what Facebook Meta is pushing is that whole, you know, what they do through their goggles
Yeah.
and their hands and stuff, right? The Quest. But I guess that the challenge there is the VR, the virtual reality element, right? Because what you're saying in a way is part of it's, you know, actually in the physical malls
Yeah.
and seeing things in there that you can, so it's kind of augmented, right?
So maybe
it's a layer on top of reality.
Yeah.
I
There's
guess she's
actually-
talking about like a replacement, you know, you're in there with you're totally immersed.
That's not VR, isn't it? That
Yeah,
is,
totally, your VR is you're totally immersed.
I think
Like you're falling over and hitting the sofa.
HoloLens, basically.
Yeah, type
Yeah.
concept.
Full immersion is the way to go. It's better than sitting in front of a PC.
You think so?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
You might get dizzy.
So the VR introduces another level of design, right? Because these are, in a way, you're kind of freely moving around, right?
The technology can merge. I think Decentraland, you can wrap it around a HoloLens.
Okay, interesting. So there's a lot of exploration going on in that
Yes.
space, right?
Yes.
And knowing Diana, she'll want to have a TEDx in Macau on your virtual land. She loves TEDx. She's a good speaker. So maybe you want to launch some
not
events.
virtual land.
Macau, that's another area.
Why
I was
don't
curious.
we do a physical event, because Macau has a lot of MICE facilities.
Yeah, that's another thing I was going to ask you is because you're talking about resorts. Resorts are not just about going for entertainment. There's a whole business which is about, the mice, the exhibitions, the trade shows, the conferences, the weddings.
The owner of Sands, Sheldon Ashley, built his first business on Comdex, which was the big tech conference in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And he made so much money, he built the Sands.
Really? It's interesting. So you think have you had those conversations already about doing, because the era of going to conferences and stuff seems to have adjusted itself to being there virtually, not being there in person, but kind of joining and networking before and after. There's a lot that seems to be going on in that world.
Well, Web Wednesday can scale to a physical event in Macau. That would be fun.
Yeah, I'd like to do one in Macau.
Yeah, and the after party would be a lot more fun too.
Yes. Okay, any more questions?
Yeah, so we have one from Rodrigo. Rodrigo says, with the Sandbox being on the Ethereum blockchain and the Chinese government explicitly ruling against permissionless and public blockchains, how do you see this impacting your project, and what's your opinion on private or permissioned enterprise blockchains?
Yeah,
A difficult audience out there.
One, but as
Nice
the compliance
question, Rodrigo.
officer, I can answer that question for sure.
So your compliance as well. The C stands for compliance, or compliance and finance officer.
Chief financial officer,
Okay.
but also the creative part. I created.
Okay.
This
Creative
whole
financial
ResortVerse was
officer. Okay.
dreamed out of me because I was bored.
Okay.
A bored ape.
You're a bored ape. There you
A
go.
real bored ape, sitting on a yacht. The question on, I lost, what was the question?
So with
The
Sandbox being on
Ether.
Ethereum,
Sandbox is on
Yes,
Ethereum.
yeah, it is problematic because the China customers supposedly can't deal in Ethereum, which is why we can't, we have to look for a solution. We want to build this travel token to be compliant with both China standards and Western standards, and to put in some KYC just to keep all the authorities happy that it's not money laundering. It's too easy for us to be associated with some money laundering scheme.
Yeah. That was one thing I was going to ask you. I'm surprised the lawyer lady didn't ask it, but China's famous for any new technology that comes along. It's used very creatively to export cash, right? Crypto, mining, all that. So obviously the NFT can be easily a vehicle for that kind of transaction. So you'd have to be pretty rigorous about the activities that people are, that if you're creating the ability to convert these NFTs into comps and all that.
So I have to put my CFO hat on and figure a way of doing KYC and AML on all the wallets that we onboard. It's becoming like a financial institution.
Yeah, that's
but
interesting.
really
That's also going to squeeze your market,
yes.
right?
And for the record, we're not exporting any type of cash or security. We just want to export brand awareness and love of traveling and resorts.
I know, but that's the dream, right? We know what the reality is. It's always different with technology. Just look at the whole. Unfortunately, there's a lot going on in this NFT crypto world, which is not squeaky clean and KYC, AML friendly. Any other questions?
Yes, Roger Lee is asking, why Sandbox and not Decentraland?
That's the third person that's asked that. Decentraland, there's a big fan base of Decentraland out there.
Because, hi Yatsio, if you're out there, remember me? We went Web 1.0, we go way back as with...
Okay, so the push, the Yatsu push is done, right?
Yeah.
So answer
and
his question.
then also the support that Animoca gives, actually. We have direct line with Animoca. They're very, very friendly people.
Okay, so your answer to him is, you're in Hong Kong, Sandbox is here, Animoca's here, you're able to coordinate with them.
Frankly, the latest and the best metaverse out there. It's the one with the most publicity.
That's your opinion.
It's the one with the most, it's got 2 million user accounts and it's not even been launched.
Yeah, but you've just got, I think there's a battle going on, right? You've got, a lot of these are out there, Decentraland's just done this fashion week
you got to
thing.
pick one, right? So we just did a small test on
Yeah, you
Sandbox.
can't be everywhere.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
You can't be everywhere. Yeah. So let's take, how are we doing on time? Let's take one or two more questions.
Adrian Toy says, hi, I used to work in one of the integrated resorts, and Metaverse was something they were investigating for a while. We had a mobile game with a play to earn. However, the audience we could drive physically to the resort was not the audience we wanted to attract. How do you find high quality leads and repeat users?
That's a very marketing question, but I don't know if you've got
I think
wherewithal.
inside these resorts, they have these data analysts now. I was talking to one this morning. They have these data analysts. They will look at the data set, and if you bring these customers to the resorts, the way that the wallet's structured, you can actually, you can KYC, you can actually prime them. You can actually profile them to see, are these high income people, or are they here for the comps?
Explain that to me, because I thought most of these wallets are pretty anonymous, right? It's just it's an address.
But if you pre-sold them the NFT, you know the wallet address, and then you can.
Yeah, you know the address. That's all you know.
But you can also see the transactions in and out of that wallet address to see.
Oh, I see.
If
So
he's,
using that data to
if
profile.
he's like a high profile or a high, he spends a lot of money on these digital things.
Yeah.
You might say, oh, he's played Axel Infinity, which means he's a gamer.
Good point. I guess it's about, I guess, talking to Adrian, it's probably like the credit card companies, Amex, Visa. They've
Yes.
always had these, they know all the transactions, and they can probably profile you, but they have to pass that on to another party to anonymize it and profile you. I think there is a data privacy element there of like what's anonymous and what's, what can be used. Because, in the advertising one, this whole cookie thing's disappearing.
Yeah.
It's all about first-party data. Are those wallets going to give you the kind of access that you need, right?
Yeah, and part of NFT culture is to shill, to show off what you have. So they're going to, and that works for the brand, because if you're shilling the brand, co-branded NFT, it's free advertising.
To show off, yeah.
Yeah.
But, okay. But that, yeah, all right. No comment. Last question.
No further questions at the moment.
No? Okay.
So I have a question for you.
Go
Napoleon.
ahead. Fire ahead.
So how do you see Web Wednesday developing from here? Will it become, bring in more corporate sponsors, or are you going the innovation side, or are you going towards the corporate side?
You're so nice of you to ask. Nobody has ever asked me. Ever.
There you go.
Since 2006, nobody has ever asked me, apart from my previous wife. So you can see where that went. Well, Web Wednesday is, in Chinese, Xingke Sam, 3. It's already a 3. So, I have a day job, right? So Web Wednesday is my community angle. I use it to experiment. I use it to learn. If I had enough commitment and enough nous, I would say this is all about communities, and it's all about, I would plug in some of those things you mentioned. But I think, all of these memberships, leveraging it, you have to really give value to people. I've learned over the years that people ask for a lot, and they want it free, mostly. If you ask somebody to pay, you better be giving them one hell of a service, because they will just flip and go away very quickly. I've tried it with events, I've tried it with memberships, whatever. What I found also as difficult is, and I think you will find this, is that the platforms that you originally build these communities on, Facebook was great until they said, sorry, you have to pay to access the people that you have brought to this platform. Well, I brought you 5,000 people. Yeah, but you've got to pay to access them. Right? So what happens is you're kind of caught by the platforms, like you may be with Sandbox, is that you invest a lot of time and you build these communities, and then your community gets gated. So as an entrepreneur, you go like, well, what can I do, right? So it's always a balance between how much can I invest, how much can I learn, how much can I get out of it. So that's why I just treat it as my community give back. It's my ESG.
There you go. Napoleon, the original OG.
Thank you very much.
Community building.
Okay, so last thing. So if people want to find out more about, because ResortVerse is not a website, where can people go to find out more about what we've just talked about? We will share this video, but where can they go to find more?
Right now, what's up is a YouTube channel. We have an Instagram channel. We're
Under what name?
Asia Tigers.
Okay, Asian Tigers.
And then the website Mini Macau will be done very soon.
Very soon.
And then the rest of the media should be out. Just get onto Web Wednesday. I think there's a whitelist form in there. Fill in the details, and we will keep you informed of all future developments. It's very exciting.
Excellent. Okay, thank you very much, Tony. And thank you, Unsensible.